The silver ship appeared above New York City without warning. One moment the sky was clear, the next moment a massive vessel hung there like a floating mountain. It was 3 miles long and shaped like a crystal arrow, with purple lights running along its edges. Inside the United Nations building, phones started ringing. Diplomats ran through hallways with papers in their hands. Security guards spoke quickly into their radios. Everyone knew this was the moment they had prepared for, but hoped would never come. President Kate Morrison stood in the emergency command center, surrounded by screens showing the alien ship from different angles. General Frank Lopez stood beside her, his face calm but his hands gripping the edge of the table. "Madam President," said Lopez, "the ship hasn't made any aggressive moves yet. Our satellites show no weapons charging." "Let's not give them a reason to start," Morrison replied. She turned to her aide. "Get me the UN Secretary General on the line, and someone find out if that ship is broadcasting anything." Within minutes, they had their answer. The alien ship was sending a message on all human communication channels. Television screens, radios, and phones around the world suddenly filled with the image of an alien being. The creature stood 8 feet tall with grayish-purple skin. It had 4 arms, each ending in hands with 6 fingers. Its head was elongated with large black eyes and no visible nose. The alien wore elaborate robes decorated with moving star patterns. "Greetings, inhabitants of Earth," the alien said in perfect English. Its voice was deep and resonant. "I am Ambassador Vexthor of the Zarnaxian Empire. We come to offer your species a great honor." In the command center, Morrison watched carefully. "Here it comes," she muttered. "The Galactic Empire spans 10,000 star systems," Vexthor continued. "We have brought order and enlightenment to countless primitive worlds. Today, we extend our hand to humanity. Join our empire, accept our guidance, and we will elevate your species beyond its current limitations." The ambassador paused, letting his words sink in. Then his tone became more serious. "However, should you refuse this generous offer, you will face the consequences of defying the masters of the galaxy. We have conquered civilizations far more advanced than yours. Do not mistake our diplomacy for weakness." The transmission ended, leaving screens around the world blank. For a moment, there was silence in the command center. "Well," Morrison said finally, "that was certainly dramatic." She turned to Lopez. "What do you think, General? Should we prepare for war?" Lopez shook his head slightly. "I think we should follow protocol, Madam President. This is a first contact situation." Morrison nodded and picked up the phone to call the Secretary General. After a brief conversation, she hung up and addressed the room. "The UN is convening an emergency session. In the meantime, we need to respond to our visitors." She looked around at her advisors. "Any suggestions on what to say to the masters of the galaxy?" Dr. Sarah Park, the President's science advisor, raised her hand. "Perhaps we should ask them about their intentions. What exactly do they mean by elevation and guidance?" "Good point," Morrison agreed. "We need more information before making any decisions." The President sat down at the communications console and activated the transmitter. Taking a deep breath, she began to speak. "Ambassador Vexthor, this is President Kate Morrison of the United States, speaking on behalf of Earth's United Nations. We have received your message and appreciate your generous offer. However, before we can consider such an important decision, we need to understand more about what joining your empire would entail." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Could you provide more details about the rights and responsibilities of member worlds? We're particularly interested in matters of self-governance, cultural preservation, and economic arrangements." The response came quickly. Vexthor appeared on the screen again, looking slightly annoyed. "Your questions are irrelevant," he said dismissively. "When you join the Empire, all such matters are decided by the Imperial Council. Your primitive systems of governance will be replaced by our superior methods. Your economies will be integrated into our galactic trade network. As for culture, we will preserve what is useful and discard what is not." Morrison exchanged glances with her advisors. Dr. Park was trying not to smile. I see, Morrison replied carefully. And what criteria do you use to determine what aspects of a culture are useful? Vexthor waved one of his 4 hands impatiently. The Empire has existed for millennia. We have perfected the science of civilization. Your species has barely achieved spaceflight. You are in no position to question our methods. Of course, Morrison said smoothly. We're simply trying to understand your offer fully. On Earth, we have a saying, the devil is in the details. We like to know what we're agreeing to before we sign anything. You dare compare the Empire to your primitive supernatural concepts? Vexthor's antenna twitched in what might have been irritation. It's just an expression, Morrison assured him. Now, about the timeline for this decision. How long do we have to consider your offer? The Empire is generous. You have one of your Earth days to submit to our authority. After that, we will demonstrate why resistance is futile. The transmission cut off abruptly. General Lopez whistled softly. One day. They're not giving us much time. No, they're not, Morrison agreed. She stood up and addressed the room. All right, people. We have 24 hours to figure out how to handle this. I want options on my desk in 2 hours, and someone get me a cultural anthropologist. I have a feeling we're going to need one. As her staff hurried to carry out her orders, Morrison turned back to the window. The alien ship still hung over New York, its purple lights pulsing slowly. What do you think they'd do if we said no? Dr. Park asked quietly. Morrison smiled slightly. I think we're about to find out. But first, let's see if we can't teach our alien friends a thing or two about Earth diplomacy. Over the next 2 hours, experts from various fields gathered in the Situation Room. Dr. James Chen, a xenobiologist, studied the recording of Vexthor. Dr. Maria Santos, an expert in first contact protocols, reviewed historical examples of cultural exchanges. Professor William Foster, a philosopher, contemplated the ethical implications of joining a galactic empire. When the team reconvened, Morrison listened to their recommendations. The consensus was clear. They needed more information before making any decisions. All right, Morrison said. Let's set up another communication with our 4-armed friend. This time, let's see if we can't get him to come down and talk face to face, or face to whatever he has. The president activated the communicator again. Ambassador Vexthor, this is President Morrison. We've been discussing your proposal and have decided that such an important decision deserves a more personal touch. Would you be willing to meet with a delegation from Earth? We'd be happy to host you at the United Nations. There was a long pause before Vexthor responded. When he appeared on screen, he looked suspicious. Why would such a meeting be necessary? The terms are simple. Submit or face the consequences. On Earth, Morrison explained patiently, we believe in building relationships before making commitments. It's a sign of respect. Surely the Empire values respect. Vexthor's antennae twitched. Again, very well. I will descend to your United Nations with a small delegation. But know this, any attempt at treachery will be met with immediate retaliation. We wouldn't dream of it, Morrison assured him. We'll have refreshments waiting. Do you have any dietary restrictions we should know about? The question seemed to catch Vexthor off guard. We consume nutrient paste. Your primitive foods are of no interest to us. Nutrient paste, Morrison repeated, making a note. Got it. We'll see you in 1 hour, Ambassador. After the communication ended, General Lopez raised an eyebrow. Dietary restrictions, really? Morrison grinned. Just being a good host, General. Besides, I want to see his face when he tries coffee for the first time. As preparations began for the alien delegation's arrival, Morrison gathered her core team. Listen carefully, she said. We're going to play this completely straight. No tricks, no traps, no hidden agendas. We're going to be so overwhelmingly, aggressively normal that it's going to drive them crazy. Dr. Park looked puzzled. I'm not sure I follow. Think about it, Morrison explained. They're expecting either cowering submission or desperate resistance. Instead, we're going to give them bureaucracy, committees, paperwork, coffee breaks, The full human experience. General Lopez began to smile. You want to weaponize red tape? Exactly, Morrison said. If there's one thing humans are good at, it's making simple things complicated. Let's show our alien friends just how primitive we can be. As the hour approached, security teams prepared for the alien arrival. The UN building was evacuated except for essential personnel. Outside, crowds gathered behind police barriers, many holding signs with messages ranging from "Welcome to Earth" to "We have questions." The alien shuttle that descended from the mothership was smaller but no less impressive. It landed gracefully on the plaza in front of the UN building, its crystalline surface reflecting the afternoon sun. Ambassador Vexthor emerged first, followed by two guards carrying staff weapons that hummed with energy. The ambassador looked around at the gathered humans with what might have been disdain. President Morrison stepped forward. The next morning, President Morrison received an unexpected message from Ambassador Vexthor. The alien wanted to hold another meeting, this time aboard his ship. He promised safe conduct and claimed he had important matters to discuss. It's a trap, General Lopez said immediately. Maybe, Morrison replied. But I don't think so. He sounded confused. I think our bureaucratic approach yesterday threw him off more than we realized. After some debate, they decided to accept the invitation. Morrison chose a small team to accompany her. Dr. Amy Chen, the xenobiologist who had replaced James Chen for this mission, Professor Bill Harper, a philosopher specializing in alien cultures, Colonel Sam Martinez, a military advisor, and, surprisingly, Jake Wilson, a 19-year-old social media influencer. Why are we bringing the kid? Colonel Martinez asked as they prepared to board the alien shuttle. Because he represents something these aliens clearly don't understand, Morrison explained. Youth culture, social media, the chaos of human communication. If our bureaucracy confused them, wait until they meet Generation Z. The shuttle ride to the mothership was smooth and silent. Jake spent the entire trip taking selfies with the alien pilots in the background, much to their visible discomfort. Once aboard the main ship, they were led through corridors that seemed to shift and change, color as they walked. Finally, they arrived at what appeared to be a conference room, though the chairs were oddly shaped and the table floated without visible support. Vexthor was waiting for them, along with several other aliens. He looked tired, if that was possible, for an alien with 4 arms and antennae. Greetings, President Morrison, he said formally. Thank you for accepting my invitation. After our meeting yesterday, I realized we may have misunderstood your species. Oh? Morrison said, taking a seat at the floating table. How so? Your governmental systems are unlike anything we've encountered, Vexthor admitted. Most species either submit immediately to our superiority or attempt futile military resistance. But you responded with forms. Forms are important, Morrison said seriously. They ensure everyone is treated fairly. But your processes are so slow, Vexthor exclaimed. How does your civilization function? Before Morrison could answer, Jake raised his hand. Can I live stream this? My followers would love to see inside an alien spaceship. Vexthor stared at him. Live? Stream? Yeah, broadcast this conversation to millions of people in real time. Don't worry, I'll use filters to make you look good. The purple really pops on camera. The ambassador looked increasingly confused. You would share our diplomatic discussions with your entire population? Well, not everyone will watch, Jake said, already setting up his phone. But I've got like 8 million followers, so... Actually, quick question, do you guys have Wi-Fi up here? Dr. Chen leaned forward. Perhaps we should discuss the purpose of this meeting. You mentioned you had important matters to address? Vexthor seemed to collect himself. Yes. After yesterday's unusual encounter, I consulted with our Empire's behavioral specialists. They've never seen a species respond to first contact as you have. We've decided to conduct a more thorough evaluation of humanity. What kind of evaluation? Colonel Martinez asked suspiciously. We propose a series of cultural and technological exchanges, Vexthor explained. We will demonstrate our superiority in various fields, and then you will accept our rule. Professor Harper stroked his beard thoughtfully. And what fields did you have in mind? Science, military tactics, art, philosophy, all areas where the Empire excels beyond compare. Morrison nodded. That sounds reasonable. Shall we start with science? Vexthor gestured and a door opened. A group of alien scientists entered carrying various devices. Behold, one of them announced. We present the quantum resonance calculator, capable of solving mathematical equations that would take your computers millions of years. Dr. Chen examined the device with interest. Impressive. Can it help me file my taxes? The alien scientist blinked. What? Taxes. You know, calculating deductions, tracking expenses, dealing with multiple income sources across different states with varying tax laws. This device solves the fundamental equations of the universe. That's nice, but can it handle itemized deductions? While the alien struggled with this question, Jake was examining another device. Hey, what's this thing do? That is our neural interface transmitter, another scientist said proudly. It can broadcast thoughts directly from one mind to another. Cool, like Twitter, but in your head? I suppose that's one way to describe it. Sweet. But here's the real question. Can it run Doom? Doom. Jake grinned. It's like a test. If it can't run Doom, it's not really advanced technology. Within 30 minutes, the human team had somehow managed to install the 1993 video game on several pieces of alien technology. The alien scientists watched in bewilderment as their advanced quantum computers were used to play a 30-year-old human video game. This is surprisingly engaging, one alien admitted, watching the pixelated demons on screen. Right? Jake said. Now let me show you speedrunning techniques. While Jake educated the aliens about video game culture, Vexthor tried to move on to military demonstrations. Observe our tactical planning systems, he announced, activating a holographic display. Our strategies have conquered thousands of worlds. Colonel Martinez studied the display. Interesting, but how do you handle asymmetric warfare? Asymmetric warfare? You know, when the enemy doesn't fight by your rules. Guerrilla tactics, cyber, warfare, propaganda campaigns. The Empire's military might make such tactics irrelevant. Really? Martinez smiled. Let me tell you about Vietnam and Afghanistan, and pretty much every war where a major power thought superior technology would guarantee victory. As Martinez launched into a lengthy discussion of human military history, Professor Harper was engaged with the Empire's philosophers. Your species seems obsessed with order and hierarchy, Harper observed. Have you considered alternative philosophical frameworks? The Empire's philosophy is perfect, the alien philosopher declared. We have solved all existential questions. All of them? What about the trolley problem? The what? It's a thought experiment. There's a runaway trolley heading toward 5 people tied to the tracks. You can pull a lever to redirect it to another track where it will kill one person instead. What do? The alien philosopher considered this. Obviously, you save the 5. Okay, but what if the one person is a brilliant scientist about to cure a major disease? Then, you save the scientist? But what if those 5 people are young children? Then you. And what if the scientist is also working on weapons of mass destruction? The alien philosopher's antennae began to droop. This is complicated. Welcome to human ethics, Harper said cheerfully. We've been arguing about this stuff for thousands of years. Meanwhile, Jake had moved on to explaining memes to a group of increasingly confused alien communications officers. So this image of a cat with poor grammar is humor? One asked. Not just humor, Jake explained. It's a form of cultural communication that transcends language barriers. See, the cat represents the human condition, and the bad grammar symbolizes our struggle against societal expectations. But it's just a cat saying I can has cheeseburger. Exactly. It's brilliant in its simplicity. Here, let me show you some more. Vexthor watched these exchanges with growing concern. Every attempt to demonstrate the Empire's superiority was being met with human responses that defied conventional logic. Perhaps we should move on to artistic exhibitions, he suggested desperately. The Empire's artists created stunning holographic symphonies that painted emotions directly into the viewer's mind. The humans watched politely, then Jake stepped forward. That's pretty cool, but check this out. He pulled up a video on his phone. This is a guy playing the theme from your arrival yesterday on a rubber chicken. The aliens watched in stunned silence as a human musician produced surprisingly accurate recreations of their ship's engine sounds using a rubber chicken. Why would anyone do this? Vexthor asked. For the lulz, Jake replied, as if this explained everything. Dr. Chen was examining the Empire's food replication technology. So this can create any type of nutrition paste? Indeed, the alien nutritionist said proudly. Perfectly balanced for optimal health. But can it make pizza? What is pizza? Amy's eyes lit up. Oh, you're in for a treat. It's this amazing combination of bread, sauce, cheese, and basically whatever toppings you want. It's customizable, shareable, and there are entire cultures built around arguing about which style is best. Your species builds cultures around food arguments? Among other things, you should see what we do with sports teams. By the end of the day, the alien delegation was thoroughly exhausted. Every demonstration of their advanced civilization had been met with human responses that were either bizarrely practical, unnecessarily complicated, or completely incomprehensible. Vexthor called for a final assembly. I must admit, he said, his forearms gesturing weakly, your species is unique. In all our conquests, we have never encountered beings who respond to advanced technology by asking if it can run primitive entertainment software. Or file taxes, Dr. Chen added helpfully. Or solve ethical dilemmas that have no clear answer, said Professor Harper. The third day brought an unexpected development. Ambassador Vexthor appeared on all human communication channels with a new proposal. His antennae twitched nervously as he spoke. People of Earth, he announced. After careful consideration, the Empire has decided to conduct a more thorough cultural exchange. We will allow 100 of your representatives to visit our ship for an extended demonstration of our advanced civilization. President Morrison gathered her advisors in the Situation Room. They're trying a different approach, she said. They think if we see more of their technology, we'll be impressed enough to surrender. Should we accept? General Lopez asked. Absolutely, Morrison replied. But let's choose our representatives carefully. The team they assembled was deliberately diverse. It included Dr. Pete Jackson, a physicist known for taking apart and rebuilding everything he encountered. Lisa Torres, an engineer who specialized in finding creative uses for existing technology. Bobby Chen, a street artist who saw everything as a potential canvas. Dr. Sarah Mills, a psychologist who studied group behavior, and several other experts in fields ranging from cuisine to music. They also included a group of teenagers led by Jake Wilson, several senior citizens from a local community center, a kindergarten teacher named Mrs. Patricia Henderson, and a stand-up comedian named Dave Roberts. When the human delegation arrived on the alien ship, Vexthor greeted them with forced enthusiasm. Welcome, representatives of Earth. Today you will witness the glory of the Zarnaxian Empire. He led them first to what he called the Hall of Technological Supremacy. Behold, Vexthor gestured at a massive machine. Our matter replicator can create anything from raw atoms. Dr. Pete Jackson immediately walked over and began examining it. Interesting. What's the energy consumption? Approximately the output of a small star per cycle. So, not very efficient then. Can it make coffee? I suppose it could replicate the molecular structure of your beverage. Let's try it, Pete said enthusiastically. He began explaining to the alien operators how to program the machine to make a proper espresso. Meanwhile, Lisa Torres was studying the Empire's transport system. These teleportation pads are impressive, she told a group of alien engineers. But what happens if someone sneezes mid-transport? The engineers looked concerned. What is sneeze? It's an involuntary expulsion of air from the nose and mouth. Here, let me demonstrate. Lisa performed an exaggerated fake sneeze. The alien engineers began hastily checking their calculations, suddenly worried about a variable they'd never considered. In another section of the ship, Bobby Chen had discovered the Empire's holographic art gallery. The aliens were proud of their perfectly ordered, mathematically precise artworks. "These are nice," Bobby said politely, "but they're missing something." Missing something? The alien art curator sounded offended. "These represent the highest form of artistic expression." "Yeah, but where's the emotion, the chaos, the human touch?" Bobby pulled out a can of spray paint he'd somehow smuggled aboard. "Mind if I add a little something?" Before the curator could object, Bobby had added a colorful graffiti tag to one of the holographic displays. To everyone's surprise, the addition somehow made the piece more interesting. This violates all principles of ordered aesthetics," the curator said, "but I cannot deny it has a certain appeal." Meanwhile, the kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Henderson, had gathered a group of alien scientists who were trying to demonstrate their educational technology. "Your learning machines can download information directly into the brain?" she asked. "Correct. We can transfer the equivalent of your university education in mere moments." "That's nice, dear. But can your students finger paint afterward?" "Finger paint?" Mrs. Henderson produced some art supplies from her bag. "Learning isn't just about information, it's about experience, creativity, making mistakes. Here, try this." Soon, several dignified alien scientists were sitting on the floor covered in paint, creating their first finger paintings. They seemed both confused and delighted. In the ship's cafeteria, a group of human food enthusiasts were causing chaos. They had convinced the alien chefs to let them modify the food replicators. "See, the thing about human cuisine," explained Maria Gonzalez, a food blogger, "is that we'll eat anything if you make it taste good. Fermented fish, moldy cheese, fruit. That smells like gym socks." "Why would you consume spoiled food?" asked a horrified alien nutritionist. "It's not spoiled, it's cultured. Like kimchi, sauerkraut, blue cheese. The controlled decay adds flavor." The nutritionist looked ill. "Your species intentionally eats decomposing matter for flavor?" "Oh, absolutely. We even have competitions to see who can eat the spiciest foods. Some of us eat peppers so hot they cause physical pain." "You seek pain in your nutrition?" "Only sometimes. Hey, want to try some hot sauce?" In the ship's command center, Dave Roberts, the comedian, had somehow ended up giving an impromptu performance to the bridge crew. "So what's the deal with you guys having 4 arms?" he asked. "Do you need special deodorant? Is it like left pit, right pit, other left pit, other right pit?" The alien crew members were trying not to laugh, which for their species involved their antennae vibrating. "And seriously, what's with the purple lights everywhere? Did you guys get a bulk discount from Space IKEA?" Even Vex Thor's antennae were starting to vibrate. Dr. Sarah Mills was observing all these interactions with professional interest. She approached Vex Thor, who was watching his crew slowly succumb to human chaos. "You know," she said, "there's a psychological phenomenon called cognitive dissonance. It happens when someone encounters ideas that challenge their existing beliefs. I am becoming familiar with this concept," Vex Thor admitted. "Your empire values order, efficiency, predictability. But humans, we've evolved to thrive in uncertainty. Our creativity comes from chaos. Our innovations come from mistakes. Our strength comes from our diversity." Vex Thor watched as a group of teenagers taught alien warriors how to dance to Earth music. The aliens were terrible at it, but they seemed to be enjoying themselves. "Your species is infected with chaos," he observed. "No," Sarah corrected. "We're powered by it." By the end of the day, the alien ship was in complete disarray. The food replicators were producing fusion cuisines that violated several laws of gastronomy. The art galleries had been transformed into interactive experiences. The educational systems were teaching creativity alongside facts. And somehow, someone had programmed the ship's computer to play "Never Gonna Give You Up" whenever someone entered the bridge. Vex Thor called a meeting with his senior staff. First Commander Zixnax, report on our guests. The First Commander's antennae were drooping. Sir, the humans they've introduced variables we never considered. Our food replicators are producing something called pizza sushi. Our warriors are learning something called breakdancing. And our scientists are finger painting. And the educational exchange? The human children are teaching our scholars about memes and TikTok dances. I don't understand what's happening, but our productivity has dropped by 40% because everyone is watching videos of small Earth animals. Another officer stepped forward. Sir, it gets worse. The humans have started a petition among our crew. A petition? For what? They want us to install something called a coffee bar in every section of the ship. Over half the crew has already signed it. They say it will improve morale. Vexthor slumped in his command chair. How did this happen? We're the Galactic Empire. We've conquered thousands of worlds. Permission to speak freely, sir? Asked the first commander. Granted. I believe we've encountered something unprecedented. Every other species we've met either feared us or tried to fight us. But the humans, they're not taking us seriously. And worse, they're making us not take ourselves seriously. What do you recommend? Honestly, sir, I think we should leave. Before they introduce us to something called reality television. That evening, as the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, Vexthor made one last attempt to salvage the situation. Surely you must see the benefits of joining our empire, he said to President Morrison. We offer technological advancement beyond your wildest dreams. Morrison smiled. That's very kind, Ambassador. But I think we've demonstrated that humans have different dreams, wilder dreams. Dreams that include things like putting pineapple on pizza and teaching aliens to do the Macarena. The Macarena? Ask your crew. I believe they learned it this afternoon. As the humans departed, they left behind a ship transformed. Alien crew members were sharing memes, arguing about the best way to make coffee, and some were even attempting to create their own art. Vexthor watched the shuttle carrying the humans back to Earth. His second commander approached. Sir, should we prepare the invasion fleet? Vexthor shook his head slowly. No. Log this in our records. Earth is to be marked as a level 0 contact risk. Level 0, sir? That means too dangerous to approach, not because of their weapons or technology, but because of their culture. Their chaos is contagious. What should I tell the Imperial Council? Vexthor sighed. Tell them we encountered a species that weaponized absurdity. Tell them the humans won without firing a shot. Tell them... He paused, looking at his reflection in the view screen. Tell them we've been successfully rickrolled. I'm sorry. 3 days after the Zarnaxian ship's departure, an urgent message arrived from Vexthor. His face appeared on screens across Earth, but something was different. His antennae were adorned with colorful friendship bracelets, and he was holding what looked suspiciously like a coffee mug. President Morrison, he began, we need to talk. The Imperial Council demands a formal conquest demonstration. They don't believe my reports about what happened here. Morrison raised an eyebrow. Are those friendship bracelets on your antennae, Ambassador? Vexthor touched them self-consciously. The human children made them for me. That's not important right now. The Council is sending Admiral Krotok with a full battle fleet. He's not as culturally adaptable as I am. When will they arrive? Tomorrow. And Krotok doesn't believe in diplomatic solutions. He's known as the World Crusher for a reason. Morrison gathered her team once again. This time the situation seemed more serious. So we're facing someone who actually wants to fight, General Lopez said. Should we prepare our defenses? No, Morrison replied. We stick with what works, but this time we go bigger. She turned to Jake Wilson, who had somehow become Earth's unofficial ambassador to alien youth culture. Jake, how quickly can you organize a global flash mob? Jake's grinned. Give me 2 hours. Dr. Mills, I need you to prepare a psychological warfare package. What kind? The annoying kind. Earworms, impossible riddles, clickbait that doesn't deliver. Everything that drives people crazy on the internet. Dr. Mills nodded. I'll consult with the advertising industry. Colonel Martinez, prepare Operation Red Tape Storm. The full package? Everything. Environmental impact studies, health and safety assessments, cultural sensitivity reviews. If they want to invade Earth, they're going to need permits. The next day, Admiral Krotak's fleet arrived. 40 massive warships arranged themselves around Earth in perfect military formation. The Admiral himself appeared on all communication channels. Where Vexthor had been tall and somewhat elegant, Krotak was built like a tank. His forearms were thick with muscle, and his antennae were sharp and angular. His voice boomed across the planet. Inhabitants of Earth, I am Admiral Krotak of the Imperial Navy. You have confused and corrupted Ambassador Vexthor with your primitive tricks. This ends now. Surrender immediately or face annihilation. Morrison responded calmly. Admiral Krotak, welcome to Earth. Before we discuss surrender terms, you'll need to register your fleet with our International Spacecraft Registry. Register? I am here to conquer you. Yes, but you still need to register. It's for insurance purposes. Also, have your ships been inspected for environmental compliance? We have very strict rules about alien emissions in our atmosphere. Krotak's antennae twitched. You dare to impose regulations on the Imperial fleet? Oh, it's not just us. You'll need to file separate applications with each nation you're orbiting over. Some of them require applications in their native languages. Do you have a translator for ancient Aramaic? The Vatican is very particular about their airspace. While Krotak struggled with this information, Jake's flash mob went into action. Across the planet, billions of humans began performing synchronized dance moves. The combined movement created patterns visible from space that spelled out messages like, "Welcome to Earth," and "We can teach you to dance too." Krotak watched this display with confusion. What are they doing? It's called a flash mob, Morrison explained. It's how we celebrate visitors. Would you like to join? The moves are pretty simple. The Imperial Navy does not dance. That's okay, but you might want to talk to your crew about that. Our signals indicate several of your ships are already matching our rhythm. Indeed, some of the warships in the fleet were starting to sway slightly. In time with the music being broadcast from Earth, Krotak roared in frustration and cut the communication. He ordered his fleet to begin invasion procedures. Immediately, his ships were bombarded with bureaucratic requests. Every weapon system activation required forms to be filed. Each troop deployment needed environmental assessments. The flagship's computer kept asking for cookie consent every time they tried to target Earth's defenses. What is happening? Krotak demanded of his officers. Sir, the humans have somehow infiltrated our systems with their bureaucracy. We can't fire without completing their forms. Then complete them. We're trying, sir, but they keep asking for additional documentation. Now they want proof of insurance for any potential damage caused by our weapons. Meanwhile, Dr. Mills had begun broadcasting her psychological warfare package. Every alien computer screen started showing messages like, "Doctors hate this one weird trick, and you won't." Believe what happens next. The aliens, having never encountered clickbait before, couldn't help but click. Soon the entire fleet was stuck in an endless loop of cat videos, cooking shows, and "Which Earth vegetable are you?" personality quizzes. Krotak himself was not immune. His personal screen kept showing notifications. Single humans in your area want to meet you and extend your antennae with this simple method. Why can't I stop clicking these? He roared. His science officer tried to explain. Sir, the humans have weaponized psychological compulsions. These clickbait titles are designed to exploit curiosity gaps in our neural processing. Find the source and destroy it. We can't, sir. It's coming from everywhere. Every human with an internet connection is participating. Down on Earth, President Morrison was coordinating with resistance groups worldwide. But this resistance wasn't military. It was mimetic. Graphic designers were creating alien-themed memes. Musicians were composing deliberately catchy songs that would get stuck in alien heads. Writers were crafting the most addictive clickbait headlines in human history. Jake Wilson was live streaming the entire invasion attempt. Hey guys, Jake here with Invasion Day Live. So we've got this angry alien admiral trying to conquer us, but he's stuck filling out Form 27B. Let's see if we can get him to do the Macarena. The chat exploded with suggestions and memes. Someone created a remix of Krotak's angry speeches set to dance music. Within minutes, it was trending across the galaxy. Back on the flagship, Krotak was reaching his breaking point. His invasion force was completely stalled by red tape. Half his crews were watching human entertainment instead of following orders. His own second-in-command had started a blog about the joy of Earth coffee. "Enough!" Krotak shouted. "All ships prepare. For immediate bombardment, ignore all regulations." But when he gave the order to fire, nothing happened. "Sir," reported his weapons officer, looking embarrassed, "we can't fire." "Why not?" "The weapons AI is demanding we complete a customer satisfaction survey about our invasion experience. It won't unlock the firing controls until we rate our interaction with Earth's bureaucracy." Krotak slammed 3 of his 4 fists on his command console. "Fine, I'll fill out your stupid survey." He began answering questions. "On a scale of 1-10, how satisfied are you with Earth's invasion processing system? Would you recommend invading Earth to other galactic empires? How can we improve your conquest experience?" After an hour of increasingly ridiculous questions, Krotak finally reached the end of the survey. But instead of unlocking the weapons, the screen displayed, "Thank
you for your feedback.
As a reward, here's a coupon for 10% off your next invasion. Terms and conditions apply." At that moment, Vexthor called from his ship. "Admiral, perhaps it's time to reconsider. The humans aren't fighting us, they're including us. Resistance is, well, it's not futile, but it is exhausting." "You've been corrupted by their chaos," Krotak accused. "No, I've been educated. Do you know they have over 200 different types of pizza? And something called pineapple controversy that's divided their entire species. It's fascinating." While Krotak argued with Vexthor, his crew members were gradually succumbing to human culture. Navigation officers were sharing memes. Engineers were debating whether the dress was blue and black or white and gold. The medical team was deeply invested in a Korean drama series. Finally, Krotak received a priority message from the Imperial Council. He opened it, expecting orders to withdraw or deploy doomsday weapons. Instead, he found, "Admiral Krotak, the Council wants to know, are hot dog sandwiches? This question has paralyzed our decision-making process. Please investigate and report back. P.S. The Emperor has started a TikTok account." Krotak stared at the message in disbelief. The highest levels of the Galactic Empire were being infected by human culture. He looked out at Earth, where billions of humans were still performing their synchronized dance. He looked at his crew, many of whom were now participating. He looked at his own reflection and realized he was unconsciously tapping one of his feet to the rhythm. "All ships," he announced with resignation, "stand down. Prepare cultural exchange protocols." The cheers from Earth were audible even in space. Morrison contacted Krotak. "Admiral, would you like to join us for coffee? We can discuss the terms of your cultural integration." "Do you have anything stronger than coffee?" Krotak asked weakly. "Oh, we have something called energy drinks. Fair warning, though, they're basically legal chemical weapons. At this point, I'll try anything." As Krotak's shuttle headed toward Earth, carrying the defeated admiral to his first coffee meeting, Jake Wilson was already preparing his next video. 1 month after Admiral Krotak's surrender, Earth received an official summons from the Galactic Council. The message was delivered by Vexthor himself, who now wore a Hawaiian shirt over his formal robes and carried a travel mug that said, "Galaxy's best space uncle." "President Morrison," he said, trying to maintain diplomatic composure despite his casual attire. "The Galactic Council requests Earth's presence at an emergency session. Your planet's influence has spread throughout the Empire. The Council needs answers." Morrison gathered her team one more time. "Well, folks, looks like we're going to space court. Should we prepare a defense?" asked General Lopez. "No," Morrison replied. "We're going to do what we do best. We're going to be ourselves." The human delegation that departed for the Galactic Council included President Morrison, Jake Wilson, now with over 12 billion followers across the galaxy, Dr. Pete Jackson, Professor Bill Harper, and surprisingly, Mrs. Henderson, the kindergarten teacher who had taught alien scientists to finger paint. The journey to the Empire's capital took 3 days. During the trip, Jake somehow managed to start an intergalactic group chat that included representatives from over 1,000 different species. By the time they arrived, half the galaxy was debating whether a hot dog was a sandwich. The Galactic Council chambers were an imposing structure, a crystalline sphere floating in space designed to intimidate lesser species with its grandeur. Inside, representatives from the Empire's 10,000-member world sat in perfectly ordered tiers. At the center, elevated above all others, sat the 5 members of the Supreme Council. Each was from a different species that had helped found the Empire millions of years ago. They looked ancient, powerful, and thoroughly annoyed. Supreme Counselor Zixa Theta, a being of pure energy contained in a humanoid form, spoke first. Representatives of Earth, you stand accused of crimes against galactic order. In the span of one of your Earth months, you have... The counselor activated a holographic display, introduced the concept of memes to 47% of our member worlds, causing a 32% drop in productivity, created something called social media influencers among our youth, leading to widespread cultural rebellion, sparked the Great Pizza Debate, which has divided entire star systems, infected our military with human resources protocols, making conquest impossible, turned our own emperor into a content creator who now posts dance videos, and most, seriously, corrupted our translation algorithms with something called slang, making official communications nearly impossible. Supreme Counselor Zixa Theta leaned forward. How do you plead? President Morrison stood up. Guilty, I suppose, but we'd like to explain our actions. Proceed. Morrison smiled. Members of the Council, we didn't set out to destabilize your empire. We were just being ourselves. You see, humanity thrives on chaos, creativity, and connection. When your empire arrived to conquer us, we responded the only way we knew how, by sharing our culture. Another counselor interrupted. Your culture has infected our ordered society like a virus. Exactly. Jake Wilson jumped up. But it's a good virus, like the fun kind that makes you want to dance and argue about pineapple on pizza. Before us, you guys were all work and no play. Now look at you. You're having the time of your lives. Silence, child. This is a formal proceeding. Sorry, my bad. But hey, while we're here, you guys gotta check out this new dance trend. Jake started to demonstrate. Order! Zix Theta thundered. But several representatives in the galleries were already trying to copy Jake's moves. Dr. Pete Jackson raised his hand. If I may address the council, you say we've disrupted your order, but have you considered that maybe your order was too rigid? Every system needs a little chaos to evolve. It's basic thermodynamics. Professor Bill Harper added, and philosophically speaking, isn't the purpose of civilization to increase joy and connection among sentient beings? Our memes and social media have connected species across the galaxy in ways your empire never could. Mrs. Henderson stood up. As an educator, I've noticed something interesting. Your young people aren't rebelling against order. They're discovering creativity. They're asking questions. They're imagining new possibilities. Isn't that wonderful? The council members looked at each other uncertainly. Then the emperor himself entered the chamber. He was an imposing figure with 6 arms and crystalline wings, but he was also wearing sunglasses and a t-shirt that said, Galactic Empire Dance Squad. Supreme Council, the emperor announced, I have something to say. He pulled out a tablet device. I've been reviewing the engagement metrics on my TikTok account, and I have more followers than our official propaganda channels. The people want dance videos, not conquest reports. Zixa Theta sputtered. Your Majesty, surely you haven't fallen for these primitive... Primitive? The emperor laughed. These humans have created a communication network that spans galaxies in weeks. Our empire took millennia to achieve the same reach, and they did it with cat videos and dance challenges. The Emperor walked to the center of the chamber. I've made a decision. Earth will not be conquered or absorbed into our empire. Instead, I'm appointing them as our official cultural innovation consultants. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some representatives cheered, others protested. In the confusion, Jake started another flash mob and soon half the chamber was dancing. Order was finally restored when Zixa Theta activated the emergency protocols. This is unprecedented. The Empire has never had consultants before. Well, Morrison said, there's a first time for everything. And don't worry, our consultation rates are very reasonable. We accept payment in coffee, pizza, and Wi-Fi access. Over the next several hours, the council worked out the details of this new arrangement. Earth would remain independent, but would share its cultural innovations with the Empire. In exchange, humanity would receive access to galactic technology and trade networks. As the negotiations continued, Jake was busy on his phone. Guys, he announced, I just started a petition to make Emperor Dave's dance videos mandatory viewing in all Imperial schools. It already has 1 trillion signatures. Emperor. Dave? Zixtheta asked weakly. Oh yeah, Jake explained. That's what his followers call him now. It's more relatable than His Supreme Celestial Magnificence or whatever. The Emperor nodded, approvingly. I like it. Dave, it is. By the end of the session, the Galactic Empire had been fundamentally transformed. The rigid hierarchy remained, but now it included departments for meme creation, social media management, and pizza quality control. As the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, Vexthor approached them. I wanted to thank you, he said. Before you came, I spent centuries following protocols and conquering worlds. Now I run a coffee appreciation blog and teach alien species about Earth humor. I've never been happier. Morrison smiled. That's what happens when you embrace a little chaos, Ambassador. On the journey home, President Morrison addressed her team. Well, we came, we saw, we confused the hell out of them. Not bad for a species that's barely left its own solar system. Jake was already editing his video about the council meeting. This is definitely going viral. Humans take over Galactic Empire with memes. Can you imagine the clickbait potential? Just make sure to mention the coffee blog, Dr. Pete Jackson said. Vexthor's reviews are actually quite good. As their ship approached Earth, they received a message from the Emperor. Sorry, Dave. It was a selfie of him with the Supreme Council, all making peace signs. The caption read, Just restructured galactic civilization. Might delete later. Humanity had faced the ultimate test, a galaxy-spanning empire bent on their subjugation. They had responded not with weapons or technology, but with their most powerful resource, their ability to make anything, even galactic conquest, utterly ridiculous. The Galactic Empire would never be the same, either would humanity. But somehow in the chaos of first contact, both had found something they didn't know they were looking for. A universe that was a lot more fun when you didn't take it so seriously. And thus, Earth became known throughout the galaxy not as a conquered world or a military power, but as the planet that defeated an empire with memes, bureaucracy, and the eternal question, is a hot dog a sandwich? The universe had never been more confused or more entertained. 6 months later, the first intergalactic meme awards were held on Earth. Emperor Dave won Best Dance Video. Vexthor's coffee blog was nominated for Best Lifestyle Content, and Jake Wilson was crowned the first galactic influencer of the year. In his acceptance speech, Jake summed it up perfectly. We didn't conquer the galaxy. We just showed them how to laugh at it. And somewhere in the depths of space, alien civilizations were still debating about pineapple on pizza.